Welcome to the City Council meeting. Before Mayor Parker calls the meeting to order, we ask that you please silence all electronic devices. For those of you who have requested to speak, there are 2 podiums in the chamber. The podium in the back is for individuals with mobility concerns. We ask all others to step forward to the front podium. Each podium has a countdown clock located to the speaker's right that will indicate how much time is remaining. A bell will sound when you have 30 seconds left. Speakers registered on consent agenda items will be taken following any announcement of items being pulled from the consent agenda. Speakers registered on non-consent items other than public hearings will be taken following council announcements. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name when you begin. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to your Fort Worth City Council meeting. I'll call us to order.
Our invocation today will be by Pastor Beth Evers from the University United Methodist Church. Please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the pledges of allegiance.
Thank you for the opportunity. I invite you to pray with me. Holy One, we are grateful for this day and for this time of year where we are surrounded by the invitation to celebrate and to be festive and to surround ourselves with loved ones. And yet, even in this time, we are reminded of the injustices and the inequity in this world. And so we ask that in this place, in Fort Worth, we would strive to be a place where all people will be given a place to live in health and safety and in home, and that our leaders would work toward that justice. And so we ask for your wisdom to pour upon this place and on these, our leaders, that you would grant them wisdom and dedication and a spirit of justice for all. We thank you for their willingness to serve, and we give this time to you and ask that you would be among us as decisions are made today. We give you thanks. Amen.
Our first items will be special presentations, which the first one will be a presentation of the Salvation Army's Red Cattle Campaign kickoff.
Wonderful. I'll join you at the podium.
For the Army, and we appreciate, Mayor, your generosity of your time to the City Council. Thank you for this time to allow us to come and kick off the bell ringing efforts in Fort Worth. If I would have been creative and innovative, we would have brought the big kettle here so that someone could jump in it and or pull a turkey leg out of it or whatever else is going to happen in those kettles. And to the Salvation Army, we're as excited as anybody to see from one game to the next what's going to happen. But we have the regular traditional kettle here today, Mayor. And the Army is serving people in Fort Worth and across North Texas, people who have never had to come to us before, who find themselves in need. So it's our biggest fundraising effort, October through December, and so we're excited about the prospects of the generosity. Our greatest need, Mayor, is not funding. It is vital. Our greatest need is to make sure that you and this council in the setting today, and anyone who walks by that kettle understands that when they contribute, it makes a significant impact of the lives of men and women and boys and girls. So I welcome you to kick this off for us today, Mayor.
Great, I'll do it. Come right over here. I think my council members are going to join me also. There we go. Smile here.
Okay.
Closer? Yes. Ready? Everybody look to your center. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. And one more. And can I get a Merry Christmas, North Texas?
Ring or no ring?
Ring. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Merry Christmas.
Hopefully. Yeah. We are way too far.
Take those. Thank you. I know. I wish I could let you. Love the bells. How are you? Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Good memory.
Thank y'all for being here. And Bill, as we were joking about whether I had cash or not, he had money in his pocket just in case I didn't. My chief of staff gave me cash right beforehand, but you do have a QR code, so if people panic and don't have money to put in the kettlebell, you're prepared to take their donation, correct? Thank y'all very much for coming.
Next will be a presentation of certificates of recognition to the Trinity Valley Schools girls volleyball, field hockey, and football teams.
All those Trinity Valley students can come on down behind Mr. Crane. He does bite.
I do sometimes. It's fun. Come on in. So glad to have them here today. I was your excuse to get out of school, huh? For a few hours. I want to introduce. This is Trinity Valley School. The Southwest. They are. We have the women's volleyball, women's field hockey, and football team. Southwest Preparatory Conference champions. So I wanted to honor them a little bit. Congratulations on all that you've done. You're here today. I'm not going to read all the names, but we got certificates for you. I do have Coach Dover, Coach Jacobs, Coach Morrison, Coach Carlson, and Blair, where are you? Head of school, right there. So thank y'all. Congratulations. I'll read this certificate, but appreciate y'all being here today and killing it out there. It says Trinity Valley School was founded in 1959 as a pre-K through 12 co-ed independent school to educate students on fine scholarship with fulfillment and preparation for post-secondary credential, develop a wide range of interests, focus on intelligent citizenship, and foster spiritual and moral development, which promotes lasting values in academics, arts, athletics, and all aspects of a student's life. The mission of the TVS Athletic Department is to inspire extraordinary students to become competent, competitive, character-based athletes. TVS athletic teams competed in the 2023 Southwest Preparatory Conference SPC Fall Championship held in Fort Worth, Arlington, and Houston on November 2nd through 4th. The hard work, character, and tenacity displayed by each TVS team throughout the season came to a fitting culmination with championship wins for football, field hockey, and volleyball teams at the SPC Fall Championship. The TVS Championship wins exemplify the value of development and fulfillment at the highest level, not only for the football, field hockey, and volleyball programs, but also as an example for the school as a whole. We recognize their achievement and congratulate TVS and the 2023 championship teams on an excellent season. Congratulations, y'all. Does anybody want to say a few words? Yeah, sure. Come on, Blair.
Thank you so much, Councilor Crane, and just really, really proud of all of our kids for demonstrating who TVS is and who the city of Fort Worth is. So thank you so much.
Thank y'all. Congratulations. Appreciate it. Do a group photo. Don't turn around. Anybody else that wants to join? No? Janelle has Molly pins and certificates. There she is, right there. Thanks y'all for being here. Congratulations. And parents, thank you. Parents that are out there, thanks for all supporting your children. Appreciate it.
Thank y'all for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Councilmember Crane, my remarks are to you. One thing I noticed, all the guys from the school have basically the same barber. They have like the same. I thought that was pretty cool. But
The scarecrow look, yeah.
I just want to acknowledge you for inviting the students here today. For me, the daytime meeting, that's what it's about, making sure the youth can see how government works. And one of our city leaders is a graduate of Trinity Valley, Raphael McDonald. So thank you for bringing them today.
Next will be items to be withdrawn from the consent agenda.
We have one item to withdraw from the consent agenda. That is MNC 23-0992.
Items to be continued or withdrawn by staff.
And there are no items to be continued or withdrawn by staff.
Mayor and council, before we take the consent speaker, I do want to read into the record a correction for an item that will stay on the consent agenda, MNC 23-1024. The correct district should be Council District 10 instead of Council District 7.
Our speaker on the consent agenda is Adrian Smith by phone.
Yes, Adrian Smith. I am one with the people. MMC 23090992. The city is seeking a $500,000 grant from the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, for conducting environmental site assessments and developing cleanup plans for brownfields throughout the city, with a special focus on the neighborhoods included within the boundaries of US 287, Interstate Highway 30, Interstate Highway 35 West, East Berry Street, and Interstate Highway 820 in Fort Worth. These particular areas that I just named off are areas of color, where mostly the demographic of individuals who live or people of color. So one must ask the question and address the elephant in the room, because we know what brought us to this point. Had the Echo Heights and Stop 6 Environmental Coalition not begun to fight against the environmental injustices faced by their collective communities, would the city still persist with the false sense of concern that's been going on for the last several months? We know that this is something that could have been rectified years ago, months ago. You could put it in whatever time frame you want to put it in. But we could have had this issue taken care of. Why should the federal government entrust you with $500,000 more in grant money when you already squandered $173 million plus in ARPA funds that could have served a far greater purpose for this said effort? Again, we're talking about the environmental injustices that have occurred in areas that Black and brown residents of this city continue to be impacted by. And I want to, if I could preface the last meeting, some things were said and taken out of term as it relates to the one of the speakers as she was addressing council. I heard apartheid zoning. I heard exclusionary zoning. I heard segregation zoning. I heard a racist past as it relates to the city, and I heard redlining. I did not hear anyone call this council racist. Mayor Maddie Parker, please stop taking people's words and twisting them for your benefit.
That's the last of our consent agenda speakers, council. Entertain a motion on the consent agenda. Motion and a second, please vote.
Next item, Mayor and Council, we had a request to take an item out of order, and that is MNC 23-1016, which is on,
I think we're taking 0992 first, MNC on EPA, is that correct?
I thought you wanted to do the.
Let's just do this, it won't take long. Councilmember Beck, I think you wanted to ask Cody Wittenberg to come up?
Yeah, Cody.
Thank you.
Come on down, please. Hello, Cody. I think you heard the previous speaker say a lot, and we've had several groups come down to City Hall and speak specifically on environmental justice and what the city is not doing. And so really what I'd like you to do is for this dais and everyone watching at home to really walk us through what this particular project is and how we're using it to address environmental justice in the city.
Absolutely, and thank you for a moment. Cody Wittenberg, Interim Environmental Services Director. So thank you for a moment to discuss this particular grant. This is an assessment grant through the EPA. We've actually used this program for many years in the city, and this is one of several brownfields programs. Just as a reminder, a brownfield is any property. It may have contamination, it may not have contamination, but something is preventing that property from redeveloping or moving forward to a reuse. And so this opportunity is an opportunity for us to hopefully receive money from the EPA and make this directly available to our residents and to other individuals in the community who want to redevelop property. And it kind of takes the cost down. So this funding is directly available for nonprofits or potential owners of property, and it allows for those environmental phase 1, phase 2 site assessments to really understand if there are environmental contaminants that they need to deal with before they move forward with reuse.
And are there, can you give us any other examples of other areas that we might have done similar projects like this before?
Absolutely. So we actually tried to receive the same assessment funding last year. You may recall that we were able to receive funding for the cleanup grant at the Fort Worth Convention Center for asbestos removal, hopefully as that project moves forward. But EPA did not award us this grant, so it's another opportunity to receive that funding. Past years, this type of funding has been used at Evans and Rosedale. It's been along properties in the Vickery area, many other locations of the city. Montgomery Plaza is probably the most iconic use of brownfields funding in the city's history.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Cody? Thank you, Dr. Wittenberg, appreciate it.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second, council. Any other discussion? Please vote. Motion carries.
Next will be MNC 23-1016, which is on page 10 of the agenda.
Thank you, Jeanette. I'd ask this MNC to be pulled from the non-consent agenda and put toward the front because we have some guests here. Our Tarrant Regional Water District President of the board is here, Ms. Leah King. Hi, Leah. Dan Buman and Mick McGuire are all here also from the Water District. I'm going to encourage the council, let's vote on this item. As a reminder, this is an MOU between the City of Fort Worth and the Water District to really focus on our good-natured and green space and blue spaces initiative with both the city and the Water District. I'm very appreciative to TRWD for all the time and attention you've put forward, and I know that is forthcoming in the several years as we work together on this partnership. So council, if you have any commentary or questions, now would be the time to do that. We'll vote on the item, and then I'm going to play a video that really focuses on why good natures is important and invite our guests to come to the podium. Any questions from council? If not, we can entertain a motion. Motion and a second. Please vote. Motion carries.
There's nothing like getting outside at the right moment in the right place.
Enjoying a nice late paddle after a hard day.
Or early rise to take it all in before the crowd.
This is my home, my favorite place, where I can be wherever I want.
The outdoors are not just spaces, but a reflection of our best self.
Who are we?
We're seekers.
We're charming. We take initiative.
We're creating more open spaces here in the fastest growing city in the nation. That improves our quality of life and it honors our heritage.
So we can keep flying on the places that lift us up.
We're taking us for a ride.
We're friendly and a community that looks out for one another.
In the places where we've made our memories, we hold them like souvenirs.
Because memories become stories.
And stories become our legacy.
So just think what all of this
All of this.
Can look like if we inspire the next generation of open spaces here in Fort Worth.
Preserving our green spaces is us at our best.
And as we stand upon the fruits of our labor, we make a solemn promise.
To protect.
to innovate,
To uplift.
This is our commitment.
This is who we are.
Council, many of you may have seen this video and residents across the city of Fort Worth at this year's State of the City. But we wanted to premiere the video again today because as a reminder, this video really belongs as an inspiration to all of the city of Fort Worth. It's not meant just for a chamber body. Each of you have had a tremendous impact in your individual districts and a belief in making sure that our green spaces, our open spaces are available to all residents, regardless of zip code, regardless of income. And we have a lot to work to do in that space. The City of Fort Worth is very proud to entertain an MOU today, which you've graciously agreed to vote on with the Tarrant Regional Water District. If Leah and Dan and Mick would like to join me at the podium, I think Mark McDaniel is also going to join us, and David Cook, who've been incredibly important in this effort. We're just getting started. As a reminder to the public, this MOU has several goals, the first of which is to explore the creation of a private, nonprofit conservancy that could become the third partner in the acquisition, creation, and care of green space. And the collaborative we created is tagged as good-natured, which you saw the logo in this video. More to come on what good-natured really will be created, but it's an important effort for the private sector to have a seat at the table as we really push the city to think bigger and better about how to preserve our open space into future generations. The second goal is to collaborate to implement mutually beneficial efforts, strategies, and goals approved by the city and the district's respective governing bodies, which were already started in that place. The third is to ensure that we have an annual green space report outlining collaborative efforts, activities, progress towards these goals. We know if we don't measure it, it doesn't actually happen. And so those things I'm incredibly excited about into the future. And last but not least is we're going to hold at least one joint meeting of the respective government bodies between the City of Fort Worth City Council and the Water District to just focus on these causes. I don't need to tell you this, we lose 50 acres a week in the City of Fort Worth to development. And those numbers continue to grow. As the fastest city growing in the country and as a place where I want to raise my kids and grandkids, I, as I said in my State of the City, do not want to pave paradise. And this takes a collaborative effort, not just by this body, but by the expertise of Tarrant Regional Water District. So that's why this MOU signing today is so impactful for not just the city, but for the entire community of North Texas. And I think we're going to make waves in the right direction to put Fort Worth on the map. You can be a fast-growing city, have economic prosperity, and also take care of the landscape around you. I know that Dr. Williams probably agrees with me. So with that, any of you are welcome to join me down here to take a picture with our representatives from the Water District. As they're coming down, if Dan or Leah would like to say anything, you're welcome to do so. Leah.
So Mayor, first, congratulations on just even having the foresight to bring something like this forward. We know how important this topic is, and not only to look at where we are today, but when we think about the water needs and protecting the water, this is just the perfect partnership that we have between both organizations. And so congratulations to the council for just taking that momentous vote. We joined you about 2 weeks ago, having done that at the Water District, and we look forward to years of partnership to come. So congratulations. Thank you.
We even have a sign to hold, y'all. It's really official, like a big check, yeah.
Show my shoes. So
Perfect.
We're posing by.
Well, I wasn't going to do that to you. It's all safe.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Michael.
Hi, Nick. Bye, Nick. Thank you, Jeanette.
Next will be announcement by city council members, including upcoming and recent events, recognition of citizens, approval of ceremonial travel if needed.
Councilmember Flores.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, first slide. This is a little late in coming. November 1st, Environmental Excellence Awards, very appropriate to talk about that. The city of Fort Worth has hosted that at River Ranch for the past few years. It was emceed by Deborah Ferguson. This year, 70 Fort Worth industries are recognized, including city services industries from Crowley, Everman, Forest Hill, Haltom City, North Richland Hills, and Saginaw that have exhibited 100% compliance and pretreatment environmental regulations, as well as excellence in practicing pollution prevention and water conservation. Again, all very timely. You know, our collective hat tip to Chris Harder and Dr. Cody Wittenberg and their staff for doing what you do. Thank you, and keep the compliance going. Next slide, please. All right, November 16th, my District 2 district directors attended and participated in Career Day, since yours truly was away at NLC in Atlanta. And so they stopped by Rufino Mendoza Elementary School, and they met with teacher and Principal Katie Myers and students ranging from grades 1 through 5. So thank you, Jack and Myra, for doing that. Next slide. Okay, November 17th, North Triethnic Community Center held its annual Turkey Bingo event on Friday. They brought food and fun for the community. We donated turkeys for that event. It's a lot of fun. You know, playing bingo might seem a little, you know, not so hip, but believe me, those folks take it very seriously, and so it was a lot of fun. Hat tip to the North Triethnic staff. Next slide, please. Okay, Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church held a community hunger drive, and they distributed food ahead of Thanksgiving, and they even had some celebrities there. Former Dallas Mavericks player Wooly Davis and Moreland Wiley joined us. So appreciation to Pastor Craig Pullum, Bertie Sandbury, members of the congregation, Fort Worth Police Department that came, also members of the Tarrant County Constable's Office, Don Rutherford from United Healthcare also came by, and special thanks to H-E-B Market for providing that food. Next slide, please. All right, on the festive front, GM Financial Parade of Lights made it through downtown Fort Worth. Council member Alan Blaylock joined me on the float that was prepared by Larry Anfin and Karen Anfin, and they did a terrific job in decorating. We had a lot of fun waving at everyone, and the weather cooperated, so what more can you ask for? Thanks again to Downtown Fort Worth Inc. for getting that set up. Next slide, please. All right, in the stockyard, Santa Claus rode into that national district to start the Christmas season. Grand tradition of lighting the Christmas trees there in front of the Livestock Exchange Building and in the Drover Hotel. Councilmember Crane and Blaylock were over at the Drover, and I was over at the in front of the Livestock Exchange Building getting that tree lit with Santa Claus and also Commander Jason Kim of Northwest Division. Next slide, I think we have an announcement. Yes, Cookies with Santa. That's coming to the Stockyards location for Frost Bank at 201 Northeast 28th Street. They've had that for the past few years. Again, a lot of fun. Carolers are there. Cookies with Santa, get your wishes in. And then in the Stockyards, Christmas parade is going through December 2nd. It starts at 4 p.m., so come on by and take a look. Let's see, next slide, please. All right. Saturday, December 2nd, we're going to, again, join Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church to celebrate their 120th anniversary in the church parking lot. That's on Clinton Avenue from 8:30 to 10 a.m. Then Sunday, December 10th, Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church, again, celebrating 120th anniversary celebration worship with Pastor Craig Pullum. And they've been around a long time, and they continue to minister to that community. Much appreciated. Lots of friends from past years, go to Shiloh. Next slide, please. One more announcement, North Triethnic Center. If you have special needs children or know of families that do, this is an event for you. North Triethnic Community Center, in collaboration with All I Want to Do Is Play Christmas Party, Slaying It with Special Needs. Come on by, and that's going to be, if I can find it, Saturday, December 9th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. All ages for special needs children, and they're going to have plenty of activities there, food, games, for those children. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Councilmember Nettles?
Yes, thank you. I did have opportunity to be at the Parade of Lights, stop by and seen Trinity Metro. Was able to ride on with a good partner, Jeanette Martinez. She brought her daughter, I brought my daughter, Steve Montgomery there, and Mark Vesey. It was a great event. Next slide. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the North Crowley Panther team is going all the way. We are excited. Thank you, Dr. Williams. We are excited to go and cheer on our North Crowley Panthers alumni against Allen here. And so we invite all of you out to go and cheer with us. Next thing, just want to wish a happy holidays to everybody, and also welcome someone new to our staff, Mr. Elijah Strong, who is a graduate from Wiley College, which is now Wiley University. So we welcome him to District 8. That's all I have. Go Panthers.
Thank you, Chris. Councilmember Beck?
Real quick, Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt Councilwoman Beck. Point of privilege.
Did you sign up to speak?
No, I didn't. Point of privilege, though. Councilmember Nettles, will you sing just a line of the song? Okay.
Councilmember Williams, will you just sing a line of that song then?
I will. North Crowley Panthers going all the way.
All right, well, I don't know how I top that. All right, next slide. First up, November 15th, myself and Councilmember Lausdorff were part of a panel of veterans hosted by the Fort Worth Chamber. Thank you, Charlie, for being the inspiration for that panel and inviting what was a really great group of veterans to speak. And hopefully it will be one of many more events that we get to participate in. Next slide. I had the opportunity to tour Texas Health Resources and got to see some of the really innovative stuff that they're doing over there, and learned a lot. Like right here in Fort Worth, Texas, we have the busiest emergency room in the state at THR. So big hats off to them and everything they do for the community. And they even have an entire ambulance in there that our firefighters and paramedics from around the community can go and practice on. The dummy is a little creepy, but other than that, it was a great experience. Next slide. Okay, if you do not have your Christmas tree yet, you can go get one at the corner of University and Lancaster. It will support the Optimist Club. They do a lot of really great programs for around youth sports, and so get your live Christmas tree and help support a really great organization. It's Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and then Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Next slide. All right. The Grinch will be in Barnett Park coming up Friday, December 1st, or at least the movie will. And if you can get there early from 5 to 7, you can take pictures with Santa Claus. So I encourage you all to come out. Next slide. Okay, for those of you who remember the bond package, it was feels like years ago, but we had some money put in to redo Fire Station Community Center. And Monday, December 4th at 6:30 at Fire Station Community Center, we'll be holding our first public comment meeting about what the future of that facility looks like. And so I'd encourage you all to participate. And then last but not least, next slide, for those of you who remembered the very lively performance that we had here on council by the Spotlight cast and crew, for any of you that are thinking that you might want to audition, we did hear Councilmember Williams sing. Please refrain from auditioning. Yeah, they only want top talent. But January 6, 2024, students grade 8 through 12 are encouraged to come out and audition. And as a reminder, this is a completely free resource to the community.
And Councilmember Martinez.
Just a reminder that the inaugural District 11 Resource Fair is taking place this Saturday, December 2nd, from 9 a.m. to 11:30 at the Dennis Duncan Elementary School, Rocket Ship School. We have 40 vendors who've signed up that will be providing resources for youth, families, and senior citizens. Nonprofit organizations and various government agencies will be on hand to aid in signups for SNAP benefits, school registration, senior citizen programs, utility assistance, vaccination information, and much more. This is a fun family event that is free and open to the public. Hope to see you there.
Thank you, Jeanette. I think that's the conclusion of our announcements by City Council.
Mayor, next will be speakers on non-consent items, and I believe we have 2.
We do. Our first is Mr. James Smith, followed by Adrian Smith. Mr. Smith, you can come down.
Good morning, Council. My name is James Smith. I live in District 8. I'm not sure if I'm speaking on the right topic or not. I know y'all.
You are, Mr. Smith. So just as a reference point, we'll take up the non-consent agenda items individually. So we take all the non-consent speakers at the beginning. I know that you had registered to speak on MNC 23-0999, which has to do with our settlement and payment in the amount of $3,500,000 for claims to Amber Carr on behalf of minor Zion Carr. Is that the correct item?
That's the correct one.
Please proceed. Thank you, sir.
Kind of shocked because it happened faster than I was anticipating. I was still trying to get my wits about me. At any rate, I stood here 4 years ago seeking transparency, justice, and accountability. Today, you guys are taking that leap towards accountability. I had a conversation with Amber Carr many a times on different topics, but this happened to be one of them. And she was wondering, Mr. James, I don't think Zion's going to get anything. And I assured her that he would. The terms that you have lined out are somewhat in agreement to our conversation. She didn't want to see a lump sum given to him at one time, and she wanted him to be cared for over a number of years. Now, 40 years is a lot of years. Tatiana didn't make it to 40. Amber didn't make it to 40. So we pray that Zion makes it to 40. Today is Tatiana's birthday. Zion lost a grandmother, an aunt, and a mother. His backbone. He's with his aunt now, and this will help her along to get him where he needs to go in the rest of life. I'm here because Amber can't be here. As I told you, I was here because her mother couldn't be here, and Tatiana, of course, couldn't be here. There are people that say this isn't enough. It might not be enough. But time, 4 years, this young man is struggling. He needs to move on with his life. I appreciate you guys bringing this to the vote, to some resolution. I'm not saddened, but there's still another part to it that needs to be rectified. 4 years. I'm for it, and Amber would be for it. And I appreciate the vote for it being done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Council, our next speaker is Adrian Smith by phone.
Yes, Adrian Smith. Miss Tatiana Jefferson. Her life, legacy, and desire for making the lives of others better should still be going forward. However, we know why that's not so. The image of this city is more important than accountability. Although we convicted a rogue, out of control, loose cannon that represented the Fort Worth Police Department of the crime of murder, well, manslaughter. They gave him the list. We know how the politics was played with this particular matter because, again, the image of the city is more important than accountability. However, and mark my words, he will do every bit of that time, regardless of what's before us on next week. He will do every bit of that time. I speak that with conviction. Now, hopefully, when you all get to this particular agenda item and decide to vote on it, please just vote. We don't need the grandstanding. We don't need your speeches. We don't need none of that. Just vote. This is far done. Vote. like you do everything else. Don't want to hear your speeches. And as I make my last statement, we talk about accountability, but as I read the language of this particular MMC, one particular sentence stands out to me. It says, approval of this settlement should not be construed as an admission of liability by the city of Fort Worth as any liability in this matter, as any liability in this matter is denied. Aaron Dean was a Fort Worth police officer, so that's liability on this city, okay? That's liability on this city. So yes, this city will forever have a stain on it. Please just vote and don't do no grandstanding. Don't want to hear your speeches. We'll talk to you all on next week. Adrian Smith, I am one with the people.
Council, that's the conclusion of our non-consent agenda item. Speakers, we can proceed with the agenda.
The next item will be 23-0770.
Got a motion and a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Please vote. Special thanks to Fernando Costa and Neighborhood Services for working on this. Motion carries.
Next item will be Resolution 23-0768.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion, council? Please vote. Motion carries.
Next item will be a public hearing, MNC 23-1028, with report of city staff by Kelly Pickard.
Hi, Kelly.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Kelly Pickard, Assistant Director, Park and Recreation. The purpose of this public hearing is to hear public comment on the proposed 2024 standards of care for the youth recreation programs for the city of Fort Worth. Each year, okay, next slide. That's not moving forward. Thank you. Each year, the Park and Recreation and Neighborhood Services Department bring the standards of care before you in order to comply with the section of the state Human Resources Code that's approved by the Texas legislature. What this section of the code does is says that a city municipal recreation program is exempt from the daycare licensing requirements as long as we follow under certain conditions. One of those main conditions being that we come before City Council and City Council adopts the standards of care after a public hearing and adopts the ordinance. Other requirements, parents must be informed that this program is not licensed by the state. Also, we cannot advertise this as a child care facility. Next slide. The intent of these standards is to set the minimum standards by which we will operate our programs that are 5 consecutive days or longer. You're probably most familiar with our summer day camp program or our after-school program. The standards set the minimum. We have to include the staff ratios. We have to include staff qualifications, facility health and safety standards, and then the ways that we're going to monitor and enforce the standards. This year, we have some deletions proposed and also some revisions and an addition. All of the deletions involve tuberculosis testing by staff and potential staff. Next slide. These deletion reasons, in looking at benchmarking, we looked at similar agencies. This is not a common hiring requirement. So then we looked at similar environments, such as schools. And the State Health Services Department states there's no statewide requirement for teachers or other school employees to be TB skin or blood tested. And in fact, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Department of State Health Services discourage testing when there's no risk factors of exposure. So instead, we would simply follow our health and safety protocol that already exists if either a camp leader or a participant became ill. A proposed revision in looking at program operations and enrollment. All of our registration is done electronically now, and in addition, all the required information that needs to be provided by the parents is also collected electronically. So we wanted to clarify that in our standards. In case that's a barrier for some people, we have some job aids and tutorials, but also just plain personal staff assistance to help walk parents through that process. We also added a statement on there that says attendance at parent orientation and any requested parent meetings are strongly encouraged for the parents to attend. Just wanted to make that clear at the outset. And under field trips and transportation, we added a clarifying statement that buses are excluded from the Texas occupant restraint law. Any transportation that staff provides is in 6-passenger or up to 15-passenger vehicles, but if participants in the program are transported on larger school buses or other larger transportation services, they are excluded from this law. A proposed addition is actually just codifying an existing practice. We provide active shooting training for all of the staff that work in our youth programs. That's provided working with our Fort Worth Police Department. We also look for safe zones in our facilities and adjacent to our facilities where if we go on lockdown or need to evacuate the building, and then staff will work with those participants and educate them on where those places are. On November 15th, the Park and Recreation Advisory Board endorsed a recommendation to adopt the standards of care for 2024. Staff recommends City Council receive any public comment, and on completion of the public comment, that the City Council close the public hearing and take action on this MNC.
Thank you, Kelly. Questions from council? If not, we appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Martinez.
I do have a question. Is the application online for enrollment in Spanish also available?
Yes, and
Okay, good.
EPACT as well is where we collect all the health information. That's translated as well.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, council. No other questions. We can close the public hearing and act on the MNC. Motion? Thank you. Motion and a second. Any discussion, council? Please vote. Jeanette, try that again. Oh, sorry. Motion carries.
Mayor and council, the next 3 public hearings relate to a city-initiated annexation, and Stuart Campbell will provide a report for all 3 items, then we'll take action individually.
Thank you. Hi, Stuart.
Perfect. Yeah, that is the request, just like I did. The first public hearing was November 14th. I'm sorry, my name is Stuart Campbell, Development Services, Planning and Annexation. Good morning. The first public hearing was November 14th, where we took comments on these 3 annexation requests. The purpose of today is the second public hearing that's required to be had prior to you taking action on the consideration of each of the annexations on December 12th. There's a timeline in your package as far as the steps, so this is the second public hearing. I'd like to give a brief staff report in terms of the process and procedures for annexation, city-initiated annexation of road right-of-way, and then we'll move forward with the vote on that.
That's good.
Okay. So these annexations, the annexation policy states that the city will annex any right-of-way that is adjacent to and provides access to property within the city. These 3 right-of-way segments are already classified as major arterials and are designated as neighborhood connectors on the master thoroughfare plan. And it's critical the streets be built and maintained to City of Fort Worth standards. These 3 sections of right-of-way meet this criteria. Many of the adjacent properties to these right-of-ways are already within the Fort Worth city limits, and the surrounding areas is currently experiencing urban development. Staff has determined that the city is able to provide municipal services upon annexation in accordance with state law without negatively impacting services provisions within the city. Annexation of these sites is thus consistent with the city annexation policy. For each of these proposed annexation, a schedule, an exhibit, and legal descriptions are posted on the Development Services Department website. The first public hearing was conducted, as I mentioned, November 14th for the City Council. You'll see an ordinance coming back before you on December 12th that you'll be asked to take action on each individual annexation request. So the 3 segments are Willow Springs right-of-way, Wagley Robinson's right-of-way, and West Claiborne right-of-way. Concludes my staff report. Any questions?
Thank you, Stuart. Questions from council? If not, we can proceed. Thank you.
The first item is 23-0769.
Get a motion, council?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you. A second, council? Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Please vote. Motion carries.
Next is 23-0773.
Councilmember Hill?
Move to close the public hearing and approve.
Got a motion and a second. Councilmember Crane?
Yeah, just, I know of no known conflict, but my father's homestead is on a large portion of that 2.95 acres on Wagley Robertson. I think this is the necessary and worthwhile project, but I'll be abstaining from this vote.
Thank you, Councilmember Crane. I've got a motion and a second. Council, please vote. Jared. Motion carries.
Next item is 23-0774.
Councilmember Williams?
Move to close the public hearing and approve. Oh, sorry. Just let me redo that. Move to close the public hearing.
Motion and a second. Please vote. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item is M&C 23-0999.
Councilmember Nettles?
I want to move to approve, but I want to have words as well. Thank you. I'll keep my words brief. I think everyone knows where I am on this agenda item. Today, I want to say that this vote is about Tatiana and her family. It's not about all the aftermath that happened and got us here. And so we want to keep focus on what we're doing today. This council was faced with a numerous of dark clouds hanging over us as we walked into office of things that we had to get done for our community and our constituents. And this by far was one of the biggest hurdles that we had to go through. And I want to acknowledge and say that this council in back rooms and workshops and work sessions has been one with each other about how we make sure that we take care of the minor child who was affected tremendously about this aftermath that happened to Miss Tatiana Jefferson. And so I want to take the opportunity to thank the mayor for her leadership, this council, our city attorneys who have worked diligently to make sure us to get to this point. It does seem like a long time for us to get here, but there were several things that was out of our control as it relates to court and battles and issues that the city of Fort Worth had no dealings with. And so once things settled down and we was able to get to this point, we were able to take care of the minor child who was affected. And I, for one, am excited about this opportunity to make sure that he can go to college and do things that his mother and his aunt wanted him to do as they was raising him. And so, Mayor and Council, thank you for the opportunity to get us to this point. And so with that, I move to approve.
Mayor Pro Tem Bivens?
Thank you. Let's see here. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councilmember Nettles, for the motion and for your diligence, and this entire council. It's important that the public knows much attention, much research, a lot of work was done by this legal staff and the entire council to make sure Zion, the young nephew, would be well provided for. I too raised the issue, just so you know, to the neighbor, when you consider the life expectancy of Black males, what if something happens? But I can promise you, the work staff did was top drawer all the way. I know you were quite anxious and came every week to complain about the time of trial. That was beyond our control. The wheels of justice never move smooth and fast enough for people waiting for justice. But in this case, we all wish Amber we wish that Tatiana was still here, but she's not. And so the best we can do is the action that this council has taken. I stand by the decision. I stand by my peers on this council and acknowledge everyone. There was never any type of hesitance to do right by Zaya. This entire council wanted to make sure that was taken care of. And that's the reason why my vote will be in support of this settlement. And Mayor, thank you for your leadership. And the new members who came on board, thank you for just being human and caring about a very, very dark page in our city's history. Thank you to the police chief. I see Chief Noakes back there. Everyone played a role in making sure we stood up for Zion. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Crane?
Yeah, just reflecting on what Mayor Pro Tem just said, I think it's worth at least very, very quickly, since legal staff did put a lot of time and effort and listened and met with all of us and our concerns to know how Zion's going to be taken care of. I don't know who best to address that, but I'd love just for this audience to have that summarized.
Is it Letitia?
Letitia.
Good morning, Mayor, members of council. Letitia Coleman Brown, Deputy City Attorney. I am not going to tell you specific dollar amounts just because it respects the privacy of the settlement until a court approves it, because the court does have to approve it. But I do want to let you know generally that there was a attorney fee arrangement that the plaintiffs had with the attorney. We had no control over that. They decided how much the attorneys would be paid. So a significant amount of that settlement, 40%, will go to the attorneys under their arrangements. That can be changed by the court, and it may be changed by the court. We just don't know that yet. There is a lump sum that will be paid out to the family that would allow the minor child, I'm not naming him just because as a lawyer and officer of the court has gave him initials, but most everybody knows who he is because he testified at the criminal trial. But a lump sum will be set aside for him from now until 18 to take care of needs of a child. It is not, that was asked for, the amount, we offered it, but the amount was asked for and decided upon by the family. There will be an amount that will pay semi-annually every semester that would allow him to go to college and for that, for college to be paid for. That amount will be paid from age 18 to age 25. So that will allow him to get a bachelor's degree and an advanced degree if he so decides. He will also get monthly payments under our agreement that will allow him to have living expenses while he's in college as well. And then at age 26 through age 40, that amount will increase. He will get monthly payments as well as an annual lump sum payment that will pay him through the age of 40. And I'm going to say this amount because since he is getting a lot of these payments later in life, that money will sit and gain interest to his benefit, which means that although this settlement amount in today's dollars is 3.5, that if that amount annuitizes and is paid out as we expect it to be, it could result in actual payment amount valued at $6 million. And I'm happy to answer any further questions.
I appreciate that. I just wanted you to, because y'all did so much work on this, again, meeting with us individually and then as a group, and then back and forth, the family really worked on this and signed off on it. And I think the overall purpose that I know I had, and I can't speak for my colleagues, but I think they agree, is that he is taken care of for the rest of his life. And if it's invested well, he's got trustees and everything else, that he should be good. Never going to bring his aunt and his family back, but it will, I think, go down this road to healing.
And I think that it's important to note that the city, as well as his family, were totally on board with each other in providing an amount that would take care of him through 18, making sure that he was able to go to college, make sure that he was incentivized to go to college because the majority of his money will come after college age. So making sure he was incentivized to go to college and making sure that he was taken care of for a longer period of time. Sometimes these amounts are lump sums over a shorter period of time, but his family was very interested in making sure that those payments were made out over a longer period of time for his benefit.
Thank you, Letitia. Councilmember Flores.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say that, with this council action, family will receive a small measure of relief and hopefully peace after 3 years of waiting for trial and justice to be served. And we all collectively hope for the very best for Zion's future. That's what's important.
Thank you, Carlos. Councilmember, any other discussion or remarks on this item? No, just to reiterate, thank you very much to Leanne, your entire city attorney staff, external counsel. You've worked really diligently, and I know it was also a very emotional experience, especially for the attorneys on the front line, ensuring they were memorializing the wishes of this council, which was, of course, to take care of a minor child that his life was directly impacted by a Fort Worth police officer, but most importantly, to make sure his future could be better and brighter by the right level of funds. And I think that we've achieved that today. It does feel short, right? It's not enough, but it is the right gesture on behalf of the city of Fort Worth. And so for those reasons, I'm equally as thankful for this council. We don't always agree on everything, but there's full agreement on this issue along the way. And to that, I'm very, very appreciative. With council, please vote. Motion carries.
Next item is MNC 23-1022.
Councilmember Williams, this one's in D6.
Land and right-of-way easements, 1.013 acres of land and permanent slope easements, 0.7113 acres of land and permanent drainage easements, and 1.7255 acres of land for a temporary construction easement from property owned by Coex LLC, a Texas limited liability company located in the Moses Walters Survey, abstract number 1598, J.H. Duncan Survey, abstract number 398, in City of Fort Worth, Tarrant County, Texas. The land rights in the subject property are needed for the McCarr Avenue McPherson project, a public purpose that provides for new travel lanes, intersection improvements, storm drainage improvements, sidewalks, and streetlights as necessary. The property is further described by meets and bounds and depicted by survey exhibits attached to this mayor and council communication.
Motion and a second. Either discussion, council? Please vote. Motion carries.
Next item is MNC 23-1010.
A motion and a second. Special thanks to CEO of Child Care Associates, Ms. Kara Waddell, who is here today. This is very exciting for us to proceed with the design and construction of our child care facility on Calmont. So thank you, Kara, for all your hard work.
Yep.
Council, please vote.
Mayor.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Cal.
I'm sorry. Due to my wife's employment with Child Care Associates, I have to recuse myself from this vote, but I agree and I'm very excited about this facility. Thank you.
Please vote, council. Motion carries.
Next item is MNC 23-1025.
Councilmember Hill.
I move to approve.
Motion and a second. Please vote. And motion carries.
Next item is MNC 23-1026.
Motion and a second. Please vote.
Mayor, that concludes all of the action items.
Council, bear with me for just a second. Today, we are going to close the meeting in honor of Zach McElroy and his 2 children. Judson and Lindsay, who tragically lost their lives in a car accident last week while traveling for Thanksgiving celebrations. Judson was 12 years old and was a student at McLean Middle School, known for always wearing an ear-to-ear smile and for his gracious demeanor. 9-year-old Lindsay was a student at Tanglewood Elementary School. And was a selfless and positive young girl, always staying close to her mom. Many know Zach, who was born and raised in Fort Worth, was a giant of a man, both figuratively and literally. He was a proud TCU alum and a lifelong member of UCC. He was a pillar of the Fort Worth community, known for always knowing everybody anywhere he went and for having a smile that would light up a room. Zach held the position of CEO at McElroy and Falls Construction, the firm that had a direct impact on the entire city of Fort Worth and North Texas, and specifically to our city. Through partnerships with the city for various projects, including the Pioneer Tower, the new Vivian J. Lincoln Library, Northwest Library, Mercado Building, Coma Community Center, and just to name a few. The McElroys are survived by wife and mother Lauren, who is currently in critical condition in Austin, Texas. We ask that you keep Lauren and the family in your prayers during this unimaginable difficult time. As we all have questions and really grapple with the gravity of this loss for the Fort Worth community, and specifically for Lauren, I'm reminded by the words of Reverend Russ Peterman, who graciously traveled to Austin this weekend. And he was leaving Lauren's hospital room, and he said, "When we are at our worst, God is at his best." To this remarkable family, apologies for being so emotional, but it just reminds you of what really matters, especially in a world that seems really torn today. And so just pray for Lauren and her recovery. She's an incredibly strong woman, and she has a really rough grow ahead, but I know the entire Fort Worth and North Texas community is behind her. There are a variety of ways you can help this family, but right now they're just asking for your prayers. And they'll update Fort Worth on what they really need moving forward. Macy and I are both wearing purple today. Zach played for TCU, was a constant TCU alum. Lauren went to UT, so they always had a fun rivalry going on anytime you saw them. But we wrapped them in our prayers and our love, and with that, I'll close the meeting in our honor. Thank you.